Some would say I'm a creative. I love storytelling, I love creating things, I just love making things, especially stories. But a problem comes with that when I have too many stories and I don't have enough time to make them all. And I find it one of the most infuriating things on this green earth.
Hey man, how the hell you doing? I've been just fine living life with the...
We are super chill today. We're super chill today. We're in our PJs. We're just gonna relax, honestly, today, because today we're late to posting this episode and I can't delay it anymore. You think I have time to do my makeup? You think I have time to get dressed? No, I don't, actually. I'm running out of time. I am out of time. Guys, it's getting a lot. It's getting a lot, actually. Now, before you run to the comments and you go, oh my god, is the new posting schedule, like, overworking you? Like, oh my god, Miss Raven is immediately joining me. Before you go to the comments, you're like, oh my god, is the new posting schedule overworking you? Oh my god, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. And no, it is not overworking me. Here, hold on. I'm, like, getting situated because I want Miss Raven to have room to make biscuits or whatever she's trying to do. But... no, I'm fine. I really am fine. It's just a matter of I have some IRL stuff I need to handle early next week. Some adult things I need to do, right? And so this week I had to treat basically as 2 weeks in one. I basically had to record, edit, and upload roughly 2 weeks worth of content this week, and I already had to cut back on the amount of content I was filming because of that. Like, I'm not posting 3 audios this week and next week. I think I posted 1 or 2 this week, and then I'm posting 1 next week, and then this podcast is coming out, where recently I've been trying to post 3 times a week. And at a normal week, I can post 3 times a week. It's just, I had a lot of commissions this week, which I'm so thankful for. I'm so thankful for that. But also, it did, add a lot to my schedule with deadlines. And then I've also been streaming a lot this week because I feel bad that I won't be able to stream next week. And I've just been really enjoying streaming over on the gaming channel. And so that's been something I want to do. And all the creative projects I have. I also had to take off Mother's Day because it's my mom's, day, and I wanted to spend it with her and do whatever she wanted and stuff. But I'm also a workaholic and I wanted to do things on Mother's Day. And then I realized it was Mother's Day only a couple days before, but it was Mother's Day. And so I had to really quickly run to grab my mom a gift, do all that jazz, and then obviously celebrate Mother's Day with her. So it was a little hectic. But we survived. It is Friday when I'm filming this. This comes out literally tonight, which Saturday morning, basically. Tomorrow morning, it comes out at midnight, so it's like basically tonight, I'm going to be offline for a couple days, and because of that, because I'm going to help out with some family stuff. And because of that, I basically am having a forced break, which is crazy. Because, what? I have days off? This is absurd, actually. When I get back, though, I'm going to be back in kind of a normal routine again, and I can take days off occasionally, and I can work myself as much as I want to, within reason, because I am a workaholic. But today's topic is good old being a creative and having too many ideas for your own good, and it's infuriating, and I fear that in my lifetime I won't be able to tell all the stories I wanted to tell, and that's what scares me the most, I think. But we're going to be talking a little bit less existential than that. We're going to be talking a little bit more general in this moment, right? And I love that I have so many ideas. Let me just preface this. This is a love-hate relationship I have with this, okay? I truly do love the fact that I am a creative. I love telling stories. I would hate if I ran out of stories, and I never will. So that's a good thing. But it also is a little bit concerning for my workaholic nature, with how many stories and things and projects and whatnot I want to do. It's also like an eeny meeny miny mo of how I want to tell stories, right? Because like I could do like a 7-part audio roleplay series for something that is more just like a quick little romance thing, but then I also could do a novella or a novel or a trilogy of novels or a web series or a Sims 4 Let's Play question mark. That's been something I've been really debating recently. About 6 months ago, I created a secret channel that I told no one about, and it was fun and freeing and lovely. I loved it. And I created like 7 episodes, and I posted like every other day or some shit like that. It was like crazy. Just for fun, because I wanted to. And it was like a murder mystery series, and I lost the save, so I can't finish it. So I can just spoil the ending, but I'm gonna let y'all watch it if you want to. I'll link that in the description, I guess, if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on like Spotify or something, it's called Secrets of Brindleton Bay. And my secret channel is Maven Sims, MavenSims. And it should pop up hypothetically, but it might not. So you might just want to go over to the YouTube version of this and click in the description. But regardless, I'm probably not going to continue anything on that channel because it was more of an experiment and just like fun, and like I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to tell anyone, and because I had this kind of preconceived kind of like, I'm fighting internally the demons. I'm fighting between the want to just create, do everything that I suddenly feel a passion for, because in the past that's been beneficial to me in my career. But also I feel like I get judged for it. I feel like, and I think this is me projecting truly, because I think that I in the past had a habit of judging people that started too many projects because I related and I like was personally fighting that demon myself. And so when someone would like post so many series, I would then like take out my own insecurity on that. Like I would never say it to them, but I would think to myself of like, oh, so many series. They're not going to be able to keep it all up. It's like, no, because I couldn't have kept that all up. So that's why I say that. But I'm also like scared. Listen, I'm very like be cringe, be free, live your life for you, don't live it for anyone else. That's kind of how I live. But also that is something I still hold on to, is I feel like a fear of judgment, of people perceiving me as too aloof, too all over the place, too non-committal, too like hopping between projects. Like I can't decide on anything. And I think that's because I fear that that is how I am. Like I'm worried that if I do really give into that aspect of myself thoroughly, I am not going to be able to focus enough on what I want to succeed the most. And then I'm going to end up, sadly, like the series will end up failing because I can't give it enough attention, blah, blah, blah. So I've been trying to find like a good middle ground. I've been trying to find an in-between state where I really just let myself be creative and let myself experience these stories and tell these stories and do these projects and whatever, and kind of like wanting to do and commit to it a little bit more, because sometimes I chicken out. Like the D&D project I wanted to do for so long, I keep just chickening out of it. Truly. And that's, I don't think, fair, because I think it would be so fun. I've worked on it sporadically over the last like year, I'd say. Like every couple months I have like a week I work on it super intensely, and then I stop working on it and I work on my other things because I'm like, I should probably work on my other stuff now. And like my book's kind of that way too. Like I had a good solid couple months where I just wrote my book Project Night, which is a vampire sapphic, enemies to lovers vibe, urban fantasy. And I'm at like 50,000 words, but it's probably going to be like 100,000 words. There's like 43 chapters planned. Like it's a lot. It's a good sized book. The biggest book I've written previously was it was actually 49,800 and something. Like it was just under 50,000 words. So it barely even counts as like a full novel technically. But that was like the full story. But I haven't revised that book. That was called King of Mischief. And that was a retelling of Loki from Norse mythology, and it was like a like spicy romance novel, and it was fun. And that was fun to write. That was like a really cool time to write that. But I also started writing it when I was like 17. And then I finished it when I was 18. And or maybe 19, I don't know. It took me like 2 years, I think, to write that book. So probably 19 is actually more accurate. And so it's like not my best work. So like that's why I fear going back to it and fixing it. But my more recent book, I'm at 50,000 words, and I kind of have that where like every couple months I get in like this just like headspace where I have to work on it. Which is fun. I like that. I just really crave routine and structure and rigid, for lack of better terms, like having a thing to look forward to, having a thing to do, having a schedule really helps me mentally. And the problem with following all my creative endeavors, this is the part that's so annoying to me, besides the existential, what if I can't tell all the stories I want to tell in my lifetime, is the idea that breaks routine, right? That breaks the routine. But I also love being spur of the moment. This is the ADHD, right? Because there's two sides of me. There's the one that wants rigid schedule, and there's the one that wants to be just like spur of the moment. Let's fly and move across the country. Like that's the two parts of me really do fight in a ring together. And I think neither's winning. They both are losing, actually. I don't know how it's possible, but they're both losing simultaneously. No one is winning. And, I'm okay with that. I've learned to love my ADHD brain. I've learned to love the imperfections, quote unquote. The abnormalities, I guess is a better way of putting it, of how my brain works versus neurotypical people, right? And I know that this world was made for neurotypical people because it was made by neurotypical people, but I also don't agree with that. I do think there were way more neurodivergent people in higher up places than people realized, and they did influence certain things, but majority is neurotypical, right? But oh, hi baby. Raven is being so cuddly right now. How sweet and lovely. Yes, I love you so much. Oh, my nails are so cute right now. They're like aura nails. They have little metallic borders on them. Ugh, they're so cute. They're pink. So cute. So cute. I got them from Glamnetic. Glamnetic should sponsor the podcast, genuinely. I really do love Glamnetic. And Glamnetic, if you're hearing this, I doubt you are, girly. But if you are, I would love to do a collab nail. An Izumi audio themed nail set. And work together in some way, shape, or form. I feel like that'd just be so fun. It'd just be so fun, I feel like. It'd be just a little limited edition. I know I'm a smaller content creator comparatively to probably who you want to work with. But give me a chance. Give the girl a chance. And I have such a strong fan base, especially over my gaming channel. Oh my god, if you wanted to work over my gaming channel, girl. I know the views over here are more consistently high, but the community over there is more consistently strong. I have a strong community on both, but the gaming channel actually floors me sometimes by how sturdy of a community it is. Our Discord's almost to 1,000 people. Our Discord server is almost to 1,000 people. I've never in my life had such a big server that I own solely. That's insane. But anyways, so having all these ideas and having these two different sides of me that are kind of fighting it out in a ring, it makes it a little difficult to figure out the balance of things. How to balance being such a creative person, but also hopping between projects. And I think I found the secret formula. Okay, I think I found the Krabby Patty secret formula, guys. I am working at the chum bucket, and I'm about to spill the Krabby Patty secret formula to Plankton. You're Plankton, by the way. POV, you're Plankton. That was such a dumb joke. So I think what I'm going to try to do And this is just me kind of talking it out, guys. This is me just trying to talk it out, really. But I think what's going to be the best for me, my mental health, my projects, my success, is taking a note from another very creative person, overly creative person, as you know, I call myself. Even though creativity is amazing and there's nothing wrong with being creative, but like sometimes you get to a point where it's like I'm coming up with too many ideas, you know. Brandon Sanderson wrote my favorite series in the world, Mistborn. This is Mistborn Alloy of Law, so this is the first book in the second book series in the Mistborn universe, or actually there's so many in the universe of Mistborn world, I should say. And Mistborn is literally my favorite series of all time. The original trilogy made me sob so many times and also made me laugh so many times. And now I'm reading Wax and Wayne. I'm on the second book in the Wax and Wayne series, which is like the spin-off series to the original trilogy of Mistborn books, but it's in the same universe. It's just a couple hundred years later, I think. And so, that being said, Brandon Sanderson is a very creative person, and he has so many ideas. He's also written the Stormlight Archives. He's written a bunch of one-off books, and he writes like enough that he literally produces books so often. Like he had just a hidden book series that he like, not series, a hidden book that he just like didn't tell anyone about, and then he was just like, here you go, guys. Just like randomly. Actually, he wrote like 4, didn't he? Or like 3. It was during COVID. He didn't have time to like travel to go to events and stuff. So he literally just like with that extra time wrote secret books that his agent didn't know about, his publishing house didn't know about, his fans didn't know about, and he just wrote them and then he ended up publishing them. And that's just so fun to me. And so I take a note out of his book, right? He works on one project at a time for the most part. Sometimes there's some overlap, but for the most part, that's what I've seen with his like weekly updates. Typically, he talks about, he works on each part of the project, one project at a time. So like if he's drafting a book, he works on that one draft of that one book, but he can outline another book. He can not query, but like give to his publishers another book. He can be brainstorming another book, you know, like he can work on multiple projects, but that one has his main focus. And I have tried to implement that, and I think it's working pretty well for me. And my main focus right now is Internet Crush. But the problem is I'm right now waiting for, but this is such a short-term problem. I'm most likely getting the commission I'm waiting for within the next couple days. And so once I'm back online, I can work on that primarily, which is so exciting. I'm so excited. But I think Internet Crush is my main thing, but it's like, you're telling me I can't work on my other shit. And it's also hard because I have so many different forms of storytelling, so many different media outlets. And that gets confusing. Sometimes I don't know what to pick, you know? Sometimes I don't know which would be the best for that specific story. Like, for instance, let me kind of list out some of my stories here that I have ideas and wants to create. So, first, there's Internet Crush, which is currently a web series told through Minecraft Roleplay. And I would love to turn it also into a book series one day. It just finished its first season, which would be also the first book. And I actually started working on a book version while I was producing season 1. And I'm about halfway through. I'm like 50% of the way through producing the book version. First draft. It's very rough. Needs to be reworked. I went and revised like the first few pages to kind of just get back into it. And I'm excited to like keep working on it. Internet Crush. So that is the main project I am working on right now. Trying to, at least. Second, I guess would be Darling Dormitory / Project Night. So Darling Dormitory, was its name when it was going to also be a web series. But then I realized the story was way too complex to tell through a Minecraft roleplay, and I thought that it would just be so much better to tell it in book form. So it became Project Night, because I don't know if I'm going to call it Darling Dormitory anymore. So Project Night is my secondary. I have written over 52,000 words, I think, in that book, and I'm about halfway done, about 50% of the way done, with writing it in book form. But I have written it a lot faster, and it is far better than anything I've ever written. It is my favorite thing I've ever written. And I also have started actually submitting some of the couple first chapters. I think I've submitted the prologue and then 1 through 10 to a couple beta readers. So a couple friends of mine who love reading and they also write and stuff like that. So that way they can comment on stuff. So that way going forward, I can keep some more things in mind. Normally you're supposed to wait till you're done to submit to beta readers, but I honestly was impatient and I didn't want to wait. And I think it's also going to motivate me to write more. So that was kind of just like a personal thing that I chose to do that at this point rather than later on. So that's the second project I'm working on. Then there's other stories I want to tell, but there's other projects that take priority to me exploring those stories. So the third story is Valkyra University. That's also going to be a MCTV / web series / Minecraft roleplay, whatever it's called. And that is a much darker story, but it's also like, it's an urban fantasy. I love me an urban fantasy. Can you guys tell? It's a urban fantasy, enemies to lovers, love enemies to lovers. Very like stalker, whodunit, murder mystery, like all my favorite things. I'm so excited to work on it. So that's a third story I'm working on, but that one is definitively put on the back burner behind these other two. I'm not really working on it that much until these first two are more worked through, more progressed, hopefully finished in some way, shape, or form. The problem with that is Internet Crush. Internet Crush is going to have 3 seasons of its web series, which would translate to a trilogy of books, right? So we are on break between seasons right now. I really want to come out with the next season soon, though, so I can't really just like take a break and write a book in the meanwhile. Kind of what I've been doing when I'm forced to take a break, like when I'm waiting for the commissions. But outside of that, I can't just like wait a year to start producing season 2. I don't want to do that to the fan base of the show. I want to give it to them sooner than that. So there's like a couple trailers that are going to come out soon, as soon as I have the skin commissions, and then the season will start premiering. So that's super exciting. I've been building a lot of sets for that. I've been writing a lot of scripts for that. I've been writing a script a lot for that, because episode 1 has been taking a hot second, and I need to rework on the outline for season 2. So once I've done that, we can kind of explore her a little bit more and have a little bit more freedom and start working on her a little bit more actively, and she will become number 1 girly pop, right, on the roster. Secondary will continue to be when I want to write a book, which I think that's fun. Have one of each media form, I guess. Because I think that adds a little bit of variety without overwhelming me and splitting my attention too much. So maybe that'll be my good medium. Who knows? If you guys have advice, like, this is advice both ways. Like, I give advice, but also I want your guys' advice. Like, I don't know everything, and I'm still learning. I'm 21. Everyone's still learning. Even a 90-year-old is still learning. You learn something new every day, as they say. And I really value the community here and like talking with you guys. So just let me know if you guys have any feedback about that kind of stuff and if you guys relate to any of this. So other projects I have are my channels. So that falls into the project category in my head rather than the story category in my head, And there's more stories than just the 3 I listed, but those are the primary 3. We're going to list more later, okay? So, the projects, aka channels. Primarily it's channels. We have Izumi Audio, this channel. We have Izumi, my gaming channel. We have Izzie on Annalisa, my vlogging channel. So those are my 3 main things. And then I would also list on the projects side of things, the series of which I am helping my friends with. So I don't help my friends a lot with their stuff because I am so busy with my own stuff. But I have recently been accepting more help, as in people have been helping me more with my stuff, because I've realized that it would probably help me be able to tell these stories a lot better and a lot quicker, without driving myself crazy. But also I have offered to help a very small amount of my friends. It's specifically one friend that I'm mainly thinking of here who is developing a video game that I'm helping them with right now. I'm helping them with the storytelling aspect of it, and I'm also voice acting in it. And I'm super excited to be able to share more. That's kind of all I can share right now, though. But that also kind of falls into the project category in my head. It is lower priority than all my own stuff, obviously, because you know, I try to prioritize my own stuff before helping others, but I also do love helping with their project as well. Then back over to stories, okay? Stories / projects, I guess. The D&D story. So I've told you guys a little bit about it. It would be a rocker girl, sapphic, very girly pop D&D campaign, with preferably other female either voice actors in general or also ASMR artists. I feel like would be really fun. That's something that I would love to do on this channel. That has been kind of, as I said, like every couple months I like really get into it and start working on it. It's code name, and I kind of want this to become the final name as well, but right now it's just the code name, is Y2KYS. Because it's Y2K themed, rocker girl themed, very punk rock. And there's also magic, urban fantasy, who would have thunk? And so Y2KYS is what it's called. And I don't know if that's too crude of an actual title, but I thought of that with my fiance, and him and I were just cackling at the idea of it being named that. Like, I kind of love it. Very like rocker girl vibe. So like probably a whole team of bards, but like it would be just like glamored to look like bards, you know, like if you're a barbarian, but your battle axe is also a bass guitar, you know, like you have all the stuff from whatever you pick, but it's just, you know, it's fancified and homebrewed a little bit to make it feel like everyone's a part of a band, right? And I love the idea. There was a project I was working on for a while, an animated series. And this is one that I haven't touched in a long time. And I miss working on it, but also I fear working on it because it's uncharted territory for me. And it was called Lomantics, and it was a rocker girl, kind of Y2K vibe deal as well. And I had character art made, and I had a group of animators at the ready to start, you know, trying working on it, but it was just so much harder to work on than, and I started writing the series obviously, but it was so much harder to work on than anything else I had done before. And so I got scared and decided to put it on the back burner for a little bit, and that little bit turned into a lot of it. So if any of you remember me talking about Lomantics, or any of the animators that were working on Lomantics watch this, I'm sorry, but it's such uncharted territory for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I need to get someone on the project, if I am going to continue it, that knows a little bit more of that world and knows what they're doing a little bit better. Because I don't know how to direct a group of animators, you know. I know how to direct voice actors. I know how to write. I know how to film in video games by myself, in Sims, and also in Minecraft. But I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to animation. So, and actually I do have a family member who is in storyboarding, like for animations. So maybe I'll reach out to him because that might be of use to me. I actually talked to him about all of it when it first was happening, because some family event was happening and we saw each other. He's such a sweetheart, and I wish I talked to him more often. because he's very much a part of the world I'm a part of. Like, we're both online kind of creatives for sure. And I was telling him a little bit about the series without it being super explicit because I didn't know how he was going to feel about the fact that it is like a kind of crude animation, is kind of how I envisioned it being. Very in the same realm as like Has Been or like Rick and Morty, like with its like crude humor, but also grounded in there's still like good messages behind it, and also really fun and over the top. Another aspect of it that was very intimidating for me was the music. I really wanted it to have music in it because it is a music thing, you know. That's like the magic system is based around music in Lomantics. And they all are basically competing with other bands, but they're fighting like Scott Pilgrim style. And that's something that I have slowly gained more confidence in, is my ability to work on music. I used to do it all the time, but I kind of got out of practice, and it made me really self-conscious about the idea of getting back into it. And I felt like my voice just wasn't good enough, and like I couldn't sing well enough to do something like that. And I think if I did continue Lomantics, I might hire someone else to be the character I was originally going to voice act, because I think someone else would do a better job with the style of singing that is needed for it. But maybe I can play someone else, because there is a character that might fit my voice range actually way better. She's the bass guitarist, and she has a much lower kind of register, and she would just sing background vocals mainly. She'd maybe have one song that was actually her. And like the idea of doing an animated series really does make me excited. And I actually did reach out to someone who did a fan animation for Internet Crush, to ask if they'd want to work on stuff together in the future, and maybe they could be a part of Lomantics. Maybe Internet Crush will become an animated series. Who knows? I'm very excited for whatever happens. I'm just going to keep working on things and opportunities. This is something that I don't know if it's manifestation. I don't know if it's just in my positive outlook. So I just like look for these types of positive things happening. And so therefore I feel like they happen more and more frequently. But I feel like things are just coming to me recently, and I'm very grateful for that. I feel like I've worked really hard for a really long time. And I feel like I hit a wall multiple times in the past. And recently I felt like the universe is rewarding me for all that hard work. I don't know. Could just be in my head. I don't know if it's accurate or not. Any of my spiritual girlies out there, you get it. If you're not spiritual, you can roll your eyes. That's totally fine. But that has been something that I have wanted to get back to, Lomantics, but I don't know when that will happen. Another story I really want to work on, guys. I tell you this because there's too many. There's too goddamn many, and I might divulge more details over on the Patreon, like, because I don't want my stories, obviously my ideas, to get stolen. I mean, I have so many of them that, like, I actually was watching, I think, Brandon Sanderson's podcast recently, and he said the line that is a quote from someone else, but I heard him say it recently, of, if you only have one good idea in you, you're not gonna make it. And he wasn't saying it in like a, kid, you're not gonna make it. He was saying it in people, wait, was that him? Or was that Shane Top in Smosh? I think they both said very similar things recently, and I listen to both their podcasts very frequently, so I don't know who said it. Let me know who you think said it down in the comments. Shane Top from Smosh or Brandon Sanderson. I will say Shane Top is a Brandon Sanderson fan, I'm pretty sure. So could be both. But basically it was saying that, like, when you get to Hollywood, he gets asked, like, what do you do when you get to Hollywood? When you're producing books or scripts or story ideas in general in some sort of fashion, whether that's in novels or that's in what's it called? Screenplays, or video games or anything like that. What do you do if someone produces the exact same idea that you had, or steals your idea? Like, literally steals your idea. Like, here's your idea and then steals it, right? And he replied with the quote from someone else that he then was, saying of like, if you, a wise man said, if you only have one good idea in you, you're not going to make it. So as much as it might hurt for that idea to be stolen, it's about how you individually do it, and also how you move on from that idea and you keep coming up with ideas afterward. So what? One of your series is now incredibly similar to someone else's. Is everything else different? Is everything else new? Don't keep telling the same thing to the person who stole it. Don't keep telling all your stories to that same person. But you need that kind of ability to keep coming up with things in order to keep going. It makes sense. And that's something that I was reminded of when I was saying what I was saying about, like, I'll divulge into more details over on Patreon, but also I don't really think that it's that crazy about saying the basis over here, right? If someone came up with a show called Lomantics, an animated show, and was literally just like copied me for like everything I've already said, first of all, I could sue. First of all, I'm calling my lawyers. I have multiple friends in law school, so don't fuck with me. First of all, I could sue for the name specifically, but for other things, it's general enough of idea. Like I was comparing it to Scott Pilgrim. I was comparing it to like these other series. And so I can't say that I am the only one that's came up with that idea. It could have been total coincidence. The name, however, I can be like, that's my name. I mentioned it at this point before they had started working on the project, And worst possibility, I come up with a new name. Like, I can come up with a new name. It's really not that hard. I love the name Lomantics. I don't want to have to get rid of it, but also, like, I don't really care. I don't care that immensely if someone stole it, And also, like, the original's always better than the mimic, It always is. It always is. Unless it genuinely improves off of the original idea. But to do that, you have to have your own independent idea. And from that point, you're not copying, At that point, I don't see it as copying because you transformed it enough, All stories are copying other stories at the end of the day. So many things are inspired by older pieces of media, tropes exist, all these things that kind of add up and create that you will see similarities in content between piece of content and piece of content, but it's how they're done individually that makes them special, that makes people like them, that makes people specifically watch that one versus the others that probably have followed a very similar story structure or have literally told a very similar story before. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind is, yes, I have all these ideas, and yes, I'm talking about them here today. But I also, and yes, I don't want anyone to steal them, of course, but also I don't feel like scared to talk about like the basics. And some people really feel scared to talk about their basic ideas, but I think it's good because you kind of see what ideas land by talking to people about them. You can see, what ideas actually people find exciting versus what ideas people are just like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. You can tell when someone checks out. And I think that's important. I think in Smoshmouth, I think in Smoshmouth, Shane and Amanda, and I think it was also Angela. Was it Angela? Courtney? Someone else. They had a guest on. But Amanda and Shane, they were talking about how, I think they were the ones that said the Hollywood line. You're not going to make it if you don't have another original idea. But also I just watched a thing from Brandon Sanderson where I feel like he said the same thing. Maybe they both said it. Maybe I've heard it twice in the past 24 hours. I don't know. But on an episode of their stuff, they were on their podcast. They talked about tell everyone your story idea. Like, tell people in the coffee line. If they steal it, whoop-de-fucking-do. But also, like, it's kind of a good, like, test to see if your story's actually good or not, See if it's actually interesting. So that's why I'm not really too scared about talking about the basics, but I will divulge a little bit more information over on the Patreon exclusive extension. Now, another story idea I had, okay? This, I don't know what medium I want to tell it in. I was working on it with a friend of mine, but I've done more of the work of like progressing the story and everything. Oh, and there's another one. There's a book I'm working on called Made of Steel that is inspired by a story that me and my friend made as kids, and she really wants me to turn it into a book. So that's also something I'm doing. But that one's harder because I don't write modern day without fantasy. I never write. It's either urban fantasy or fantasy. Like, I don't write just modern day things besides super, super over the top romance books like Internet Crush, okay? Sounds hard. But and it's like a spy. It's very inspired by Leverage and like Chuck and Ocean's 8 and Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12 and all of those, right? Mission Impossible. It's very that vibe. But there's also another story I'm working on that I was working on probably about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, with a friend of mine who wrote a little bit of the ideas and really helped with the brainstorming, but I've kind of taken it from there. So I'd want to talk with them to make sure they're okay with me continuing the story without them or with them if they want to keep helping. And I credit them in some way, shape, or form, or it's literally 50-50, like depending on what actually ends up coming from it, right? This same friend and I have written stuff together in the past, and we normally just credit 50-50. But this project specifically, I've been more initiative. I've taken more initiative on. So it's called Atonement of Sinners, and it is a serial killer / murder mystery vibe. I love a good murder mystery, guys. I love a good murder mystery. Stop judging me for always writing murder mysteries and urban fantasies, okay? It's also urban fantasy. It's also urban fantasy. And it's about these two friends who they were friends in like middle school and high school, and then they didn't talk at all during college, really. Like they kept in touch, but like not really. And now that they're both graduates, they move into an apartment complex together, and they learn that like some shit's going down in this apartment complex. It's fucking weird. There's a serial killer on the loose. And so they have to take it into their own hands when the police are really doing nothing. The police are like, they're doing regular police stuff where they, don't care because it's a poor area. But also they are trying to solve it, but they're missing clues that the two main girls are not, right? And originally we were going to write it as a Minecraft roleplay, and then we were going to write it as a book, I think. And then I had the idea of what if I learned how to game develop and I turned it into a video game. And it was a multi-POV video game where we switch between the two main characters to solve a murder. Solve murders. Solve everything. And that just seemed so fun to me. Very Killer Frequency. Very What Remains of Edith Finch. Very Firewatch. Very Crime Scene Cleaner. That kind of vibe. Very American Arcadia too, because it is that's actually dual POV. But very stylized, very aesthetically pleasing, very like spooky fun vibes. And that idea really does like make me excited. But the problem with it is I don't know what I'm doing. It falls into a very similar category as Lomantics. Now, I have game developer friends, so maybe I could make this more of a group project and not have to do everything by myself. That's something that I probably should do. I probably should do it that way, now that I'm saying it out loud. Yeah, probably should. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll have my friend who helped me start writing as a co-writer if she would like to do that. I'll hire game developers, asset makers, artists. Maybe I'll do that. But like, then I have to direct all of that. I am good at project management. I really am. I've directed projects and managed projects my entire adolescence, my entire teen years, since I was about 13, 12, I probably have been directing people in some way, shape, or form. And I've gotten really good at it over the recent years. So, like, I know I can do it, but it falls into a kind of similar situation as Lomantics, where because I don't know anything about animation, because I don't know anything about game development, I know basic things about game development. I actually know way more about game development than I do about the animation process. So that's actually probably a good thing. I'm worried I won't be able to communicate properly, and I'm worried I'm going to sound like an idiot when giving directions to these people. Also, funding. Right, I would have to have these people agree to work for free until I get the funds from doing probably a Kickstarter, and then the product making money, right, once it is finished. But yeah, I don't know. I have too many ideas. Anyways, I'm going to dive more into the ideas over on the Patreon. But if you have to stop here, no worries, bestie. I totally get it. But if you would like to continue the episode, feel free to click the link in the description down below, or visit patreon.com/Izumi audio. That is patreon.com/IZUMIAUDIO. I almost spelled that wrong. To get the extended version of the podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, rate us 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. And comment down below what you thought about all these ideas. And if you relate, please understand where I'm coming from. Anyways, I'll see you over in the Patreon.